So, I read a lot of manga. Like, here, look, I got a bunch of manga on my shelf. And as such, I am no stranger to going to a bunch of different manga websites and, reading what they have to offer. One of my favorite things to do in particular is to sort the manga by latest updated and just clicking some random manga I find and reading a few chapters just to see what all the hubbub is about. Though in reality, more times than not, the only reason why I'm clicking on a random manga is because the name or description caught my eye and I just want to read it to see what it could even be about. So that was pretty much the motivation behind this video. I want to make an unscripted video in which I talk about some of the manga that I came across during the past few months that I found to be strange, to say the least. Now, mind you, this isn't to say that all the manga I talk about today are bad. I just think they're strange in terms of their premise, or their title, or a combination of both. And this video won't be an in-depth analysis of each of the manga that I'm going to be talking about, because I didn't write down anything at all. But instead, it's going to be my impressions of these manga that I come across, my thoughts on the couple of pages or chapters that I read, and just, general discussion about them. Alrighty, so we are starting things off with No Cats Were Harmed in This Comic by Jun Han Yunyo. I think the Yunyo is supposed to be like onomatopoeia for, the noise that cats make. So definitely the thing that really caught my eye with this manga in particular was, alongside the name and the description, was when I looked at the tags and I see these three and I'm like, uh-oh. But then you read through it and you're like, oh, okay, this is kind of cool. I mean, the way he draws cats is a little funky, but the way he draws, like, the ghouls and the demons is pretty gnarly, if, we're using that word as a compliment. They're, like, grotesque and fleshy. You can't really understand what they are, but it's, like, in that cool kind of mysticism, that Bloodborne-esque way, where it's like, oh, I don't really know what's happening, but I know this is pretty spooky. And I'm thinking to myself as I'm reading, I'm like, okay, well, this stars cats, so where do those tags come into play? And then it goes to a scene where you have a human family that's being robbed by burglars, and then you're like, alright, okay, I'm good. I just really wish a lot of seinen mangaka just understood the idea that, hey, you can have a mature story with mature storytelling and dark themes without having to include, this. And truth be told, I actually read through the entirety of this manga for once, and if it didn't have those gross bits, I think it'd be like a solid 6, 7. It's nothing outstanding, but I think it's kind of cute in the way the cats are drawn, and like I mentioned, the monster design is pretty gnarly. But I will say, the title is very truthful in the sense that no cats were indeed harmed in the making of this comic, so I do have to give him props for that. Next up, we got a manga that I see update pretty often. It's a girl who seems like a yandere, but isn't actually yandere, but is a little bit yandere. The description for this one reads, the story of a girl who seems like a yandere, but isn't actually a yandere. Actually, maybe she's a little bit yandere. And if you don't know what a yandere is, don't worry, I looked this up for you on yanderetypes.fandom.com. And the description for yandere reads, yandere is a Japanese archetype used to define a character whose love, admiration, and devotion is so strong that it is expressed as an excessive obsession and possessiveness. They are often seen as characters that are crazily in love with someone. So yeah, that's what we're getting ourselves into. I will say the structure of this manga is pretty much the same throughout all 10 of its chapters that I saw. Which again, I don't want to rag on the mangaka because it may be, their first time making a webcomic or something, which is totally fine. But pretty much each of the 10 chapters follow the structure of its 4 pages. First 2 pages is a setup. Third page is her activating her yandere-like personality. Fourth page is like, oh, it was actually a misunderstanding, and okay, we're all fine. And like I said, I mean, this is like a small-time manga, maybe like a small-time mangaka. You don't really want to hold them to the same, tier as, Naoki Urasawa, for example. You don't want to, hold them to such high standards. It's fine, it's cool, she's cute, I guess. The scan leader group is called Do It For Her Group. Why did Ichigo make a noise? Alrighty, next up we got one whose title was really funny, so I really want to talk about it. Did you think you could run after reincarnating? The older brother, imprisoned by his sister, dies just as he escapes and is reincarnated in another world. He thought he had been freed from his demonic sister, but now she too has been reincarnated in the same world? I love when manga descriptions end with like a little question mark, because it's like, huh? When I look at the chapters for this manga, it kind of does the One Punch Man / Mob Psycho thing. We have a bunch of like point chapters, so it can be kind of annoying when you're reading it, but it's whatever. I only really bothered to read the first like chapter or so, but the art was pretty funny. I like this expression here on the main character. He turns into a baby, I guess, and this girl right here looks like Leonardo da Vinci from Fate Grand Order. I guess from the back, this guy kind of looks like Archer from Fate. Also turns out that as a baby, he has like Nen or like cursed energy or something that allows him to like float and levitate, so it's like, whatever. Dude, look at his face in this panel, Jesus Christ. So when I see comedy in the tags and I see the title, I think to myself, okay, maybe it's like a joke. Maybe she's like just obsessive, but like in a comedic kind of way. But then I read the second chapter and it is so graphic and so not nice that I don't really want to show anything. I'll show like some, but it's not good. It is not good. The translator for this manga seems to be named Enkidu, which is also a character from Fate, so maybe they should all meet up and, you know, kiss. But yeah, to be honest, I didn't really read past chapter 2. Was kind of turned away from the entire manga just from that chapter alone. But if you choose to pick it up and you like it, then, you know, all the more power to you. It just ain't my scene. I know I'm not gonna like it, so I don't really bother reading it, because why put myself through something I know I'm not gonna enjoy, you know? And, you know, hell, maybe it could get even better, because, for example, one manga that I really enjoy is Undead Unluck, and that had a horrible beginning, but where it stands currently, as of 2022, is pretty fantastic. One of the best manga currently ongoing, not just in Jump, but, you know, in general. So, who knows, maybe this manga is a hidden gem, but I won't be the one to excavate it. Alrighty, next up we got My Life as Inukais Dog, and I want to talk about this one because it is getting an anime soon. From the manga's official Twitter, it reads, "A little ecchi comedy where you are being kept by a cool, beautiful girl. When you woke up, you found yourself as the pet dog of a girl named Inukai-san. At school, Inukai-san has no expression on her face, but she's a dog lover who loves her dog to pieces. She loves dogs so much that she's gonna turn you into a real dog, body and soul. An erotic comedy that makes you stop being human." So I read some of this one, and I'm gonna keep it 100 with you. That description does not lie. That Inukai really likes dogs. A little too much. Real quick, just wanted to mention, because I somehow failed to mention this in the original recording. The main character, her name is Karen, and her dog's name is Pochita. And I know Pochita is like a common name that Japanese folk give dogs, but it's still pretty funny, and I don't know how I could have missed that. Which is fine, I like dogs too. I'm more of a dog person than a cat person. I don't own either, I own birds, but you know what, I respect it. I don't respect what she does to her dog. I don't like it. But if there's one thing about this manga that I think is kind of cool, is it's in first person in terms of like how it's drawn, the perspective. And later on the manga, he turns back into a human, it seems. Or goes back and forth. I'm not sure. I'm not gonna read all of this. But yeah, you get to see like the protagonist, like his hands and like his arms and stuff. And it feels like you're playing like a first person shooter or like Mirror's Edge or something. It's cool. I'm not gonna read any of this because I don't want to, but I looked through it, and it's getting an anime soon, so I just want to talk about it for about a minute here before it gets an anime and becomes really popular, and I see it all over Twitter, and it's going to bother me for the rest of my days, or at the very least, until the spring season is over. And last up, we have the manga, which actually is the reason why I want to make this video. Not so much because of the title, but because of the description. The Ate Hito Suki de Zecho Jore. The description for this epic reads, "It's like Jujutsu Kaisen, but the main character's power is f***ing the ghost until they and there are a lot of girls with big boobs." Underneath that description, they give like an actual description as to what the manga is about, but from that sentence alone, I'm like, alright, I gotta read this. Jujutsu is one of my favorite manga of all time. It's not even over yet, but I can still say that confidently. My icon and pretty much all my social media profiles is Geto from Jujutsu. I had to read this. And yeah, I guess that description didn't really disappoint. It is kind of like Jujutsu in the case of like you have cursed spirits and exorcists in a sense. And the main character's ability is exactly what they say it is in the description. I read through about 6 or so chapters and only about 2 ghouls showed up. This is not counting chapter 0, which kind of serves as like a precursor to everything going on. I guess that's another way that it mirrors Jujutsu. They both have a chapter 0. But if I'm being 100% honest, if you want to read a supernatural manga that stars a pretty comedic cast and the stakes are much lower than Jujutsu, I'd say read For You Taimashi Reina. It's a cute little manga where you have a Sukujan, blonde hair, you know, kind of like a rebel type girl. And she's an exorcist. She speaks in a Kansai dialect. It's real cute. I like the characters. I like the art, the writing, everything. Got some ecchi here and there, but aside from that, it's pretty gnarly. If you want more aliens and cryptids and ghouls, I definitely recommend Dandadan. That's been going on in Shonen Jump Plus. It's fantastic. Been consistently good. First few chapters are a little, but it starts picking up the pace and becomes fantastic afterwards. But I think that about covers it for the manga that I want to talk about today. Now, mind you, I didn't talk about every strange manga that I came across on various manga sites, simply because I found way too many to fit into one short video. But I mean, if you guys are interested and you want to see more me talking unscripted about strange manga I find, you can let me know and I'll go for it. But that about wraps things up. I want to have another video out before the year ended. It's a bit of a short one, but I want to do a big one after this. Or maybe I could do another one of these. It doesn't matter. This didn't really take too long to record. Maybe it's going to take a little bit longer to edit, but I guess we'll see. So, closing comments. Like I said, just because I found these manga to be strange doesn't necessarily mean they're bad. I mean, no discredit to their mangaka, because it takes a lot of work to make, produce, write, all that stuff a manga. You guys, you know, put in a lot of work, and I never want to discredit that. In terms of manga that I'm currently going through right now, I'm going through Naruto, and afterwards I want to get through Slam Dunk. Maybe I'll reread Real. But that about covers it. Hope you guys have a good evening, or morning, whatever. Hope you guys have a great rest of 2022, and I'll catch you guys next time. Take it easy.